Good morning, everyone. Welcome the Talk with Leaders series. Today, I have a pleasure to speak with Ylva Lundkvist Fridh, from CEO from Mikrofonden from Sweden. Good morning, Ylva. How is the weather in Sweden?
It's gray and a little bit like rain will start falling soon. Yeah.
Similar in Warsaw, so there is some similarities, at least from the beginning. I'm really happy that you are joining us. We are discussing in this series different actors representing social finance ecosystem. We were talking with financial intermediaries, with development banks, and it's important to acknowledge that different kind of entities, but also different contexts. So I'm very happy that we have you from Sweden to represent different part of Europe. As yesterday we were discussing mostly the Central Eastern Europe. Today more of the Western Europe as well. And I wanna start from the very simple question: how you, as being in the microfinance sector and CEO of the microfinance institution, come across financing social economy? How did it started, and in the context of your country is interesting as well. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we were funded in 2010 after the financial crisis, where almost all credit guarantee associations in Sweden were closed down. But one survived, and what was special about that one was that they were only giving out credit guarantees to social economy organizations. So we took that concept, and we were also inspired by microfinance in the global south, and we started the Microfond. And our funders were the ethical cooperative bank Ekobanken, as well as Companion, which is a cooperative business advice consultancy agency, and Rural Sweden, which is the network for village action groups in Sweden. So they were our the funders of the Microfund cooperative. Oh, I think you're muted, Nina.
Yeah, sorry. And I wonder if you could share with us who are your clients? How was it in the beginning? Has it changed? Do you work with social enterprise or individuals as well? And the social enterprises, what is the definition in Sweden that you're using?
Yeah, so our target group is, we say social enterprises, but it can be cooperatives or NGOs as well. And they have to contribute positively to the sustainable development goals, and they have to be able to show that they can repay the investment or the loan. So far we've done about 130 social investments, and when we look, we try to see what kind of impact these investments are creating. Then we see that about 60% of the investments we've done so far have been to work integration social enterprises wise. So that's a big share. And we also have a big share of rural development. We're helping especially LEADER project, locally led development EU projects, to cope with the fact that the grants are being paid afterwards and such. And we also have an increasing share of co-building, co-housing, social housing projects. So that's some of the focus we have. And when it comes to definition, Sweden, we haven't had an official definition of what a social enterprise is, but we really like the EU definition. The main focus of the organization should be to create positive social impact, that most of the profits should be reinvested into the company or organization, that they should be independent from public sector, and that they should have a democratic and equal way of organizing themselves, and democratic values and so on. So we think that's a good criteria for us to use.
So you're looking at the governance as well.
Yeah, we do.
I wonder, you mentioned a few sectors, work integration, co-housing, rural development. What instruments or what tools do you offer to these groups? Are they the same ones or different somehow? Because I guess there are different needs.
Yeah.
In terms of
So from the beginning, we were like a pure credit guarantee association, and those credit guarantees could be used for bank loans, for leasing, for rental of premises, or for EU grants, etc. But in the last 4 years, we've been developing what we could call the cooperative risk capital instruments, or quasi-equity, subordinated shares, investing member, and such. So we're using more and more of those kinds of instruments as well.
And do you think and what's the average amount of your investment?
It's about 14,000 euros. Yeah.
And
but we don't have euros. We don't have euros in Sweden, so I try to.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so that's not that easy. And I wonder what's the default rate? Like, what are the payments? Like, how you look at this? Because it's often said that all the cooperative businesses, they are really good at repayment. Yeah, because of the collective governance and the common goals. Yeah. Does it apply here as well? What's your experience?
Yeah, I would say our numbers are impressive, and that maybe we should take on even bigger risk, because when we look at our track record, it's 0.3% credit loss. So it's really low. And when we compare in Sweden to the general startup sector, our competitors have about 5%. So it's really low. But we're also, because most of our money comes from civil society organizations, we are very careful. We're doing quite tough due diligence processes, and having long sessions of financial coaching with our members and clients, and so on.
This is actually interesting, the process, the due diligence, and how the social economic actors are prepared. How are you preparing them for taking the financial instruments, like taking the debts or guarantees? Can you like elaborate a little bit on this? What's the pipeline? Who's engaged in the process? How it starts?
Yeah. So I would say that one of our main issues that we work with is the fact that a lot of many of the social entrepreneurs, they don't come from a business background. They come from civil society or public sector, and they're not really used to, doing business budgets and business plans and so on. So we work a lot with them together with our funders and partners, Companion and Ekobanken, and now also other cooperative banks and local savings banks around Sweden. Which is an important work. So we often have quite long, it's a long way from the application to the investment. We want to make sure that they are really bankable and investment ready. So it's an important service.
So if you could maybe share a little bit in detail, because what I hear and what I observe, it's there's important role of the creating the ecosystem and the collaboration between different actors. So, like how it starts, like who is engaged on the way before the transaction is made.
Yeah. So actually, when I say that we've done 130 social investments in social enterprises, I think it's in comparison with our sister organizations around Europe, it's quite a high number, even though it's really low, a low number when it comes to euros, because it's little money in each investment. But I think that like our success factor is the fact that we are very integrated in the social economy ecosystem. For example, nowadays, as members, we have the network of work integration social enterprises in Sweden. We have the network of rural community houses, etc., trade unions and workers unions and so on. So we're really integrated in the system, and we have a strong pipeline. And for example, so Companion, they are helping the startup of about 500 cooperatives and social enterprises in Sweden each year. And we know that this type of enterprise are financially excluded in Sweden. They don't have access to other startup services that non-social enterprises have, unfortunately.
And I wonder, like, because it's always or often it's a challenge who actually facilitates or integrates the different stakeholders, and who takes this role in Sweden. I wonder. Or is it like, or is it part of your culture that everyone wants to cooperate, or I don't know. What's the what's the story behind it?
Yeah, I think we've been forced to have a bottom-up approach because since our start, we've been lobbying to get support from the Swedish government. I mean, Sweden, we have a really strong civil society with really high rates of citizens being members of cooperatives and NGOs. However, you know, in the last century, we had a really strong welfare state, and I think we've been used to public sector taking a lot of social responsibility and also paying out very generous grants to the social economy. However, the last couple of decades, as many countries, we've been having more of a neoliberal agenda with the public sector. You know, we pay less tax, and they've been stepping back. So we have a huge need for social economy actors to, you know, step up and take a bigger responsibility, but also find other ways of financing their activities, because you know, these the operational cost grants that they were receiving every year, they are disappearing. Now they have to apply for temporary project grants and so on. So it's been a shift, and I mean, we have seen this coming for a long time, but we hope that the public sector will understand that this need is existing in Sweden as well now, and that we will take more inspiration from other European countries who've been having other welfare systems with bigger reliance on the social economy for a longer time than Sweden. So
that's interesting to hear. Can you maybe give an example, like where this is most visible, like in which sectors, or and maybe it's the same the sectors that you're supporting?
Yes. So, for example, we have increasing inequality in Sweden, and an increasing long-term unemployment. And I think that's where the work integration social enterprises make a very important contribution. So we feel that, so we're a microfinance institution, and we try to contribute to increasing equality and decreasing poverty. And I think for us, in our context, it would be difficult to give out a 1,000 euro loan to a person with a drug addiction, for example, or a person who had just been released from prison or having other economical problems. So we're not working that way, but we try to support the work integration social enterprises in Sweden. They are usually cooperatives funded by people with different disabilities, severely disadvantaged workers. So it's a way of, by them creating a cooperative together, we will be able to invest in this enterprise, even though each individual wouldn't be able to get a loan. Together they can, and together they can, work with self-empowerment, and we can support that. So,
And this is the biggest number of this kind of investments are the bigger number, as I understand, like the work integration.
Yeah, when it comes to ticket size, the social housing or co-housing projects demand bigger amounts, but the bigger share of our investments when it comes to enterprises, it's work integration, social enterprises.
And I wonder, because it seems like you have quite a rich experience and lots of successes, but there are definitely challenges as well. And if you could point out, a few that you have mapped.
Yeah. So, for example, the Microfund is a consortium of 8 regional microfunds around Sweden, and in some regions and some municipalities, we receive public support, public investments, and public grants, and so on. And those are the regions where we can do most. We see that it really increases our ability to do what we want to do. But we are working in the other regions as well, and at the national level, and with crowd-funded money, investments from the social economy. But it's too micro. We have an ambition to increase our activities and our fund ×3 just within a couple of years. But so now we're looking at the EU support available and hope that we can, I think we have realized that we have to, skip the national level and go straight to the European level, because that's where we see the awareness around social finance and microfinance and so on. So it's been a challenge. We have been hoping for the Swedish government and states to, acknowledge what we do and support it, but we haven't really successed so far.
So as I understand, you have more support on the local level, the municipality level, but not on the national level.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so this is the challenge that I think is in many countries. But on the other hand, like the next year, as we learn from the Social Economic Action Plan, there will be the Council recommendation for member states, and I think this is a good moment to somehow bring this document, so show this recommendation to the policymakers, and sort of show that there is a momentum, that maybe there is a reason why they should support the social economy. This is what comes out from the conversation I have with different social finance actors from different countries around Europe. So what do you think, if we could summary, what is, from your observation, what is special about the Mikrofonden in Sweden?
I think it's our bottom-up approach, that we are, we're not only a microfinance institution, but we are a social enterprise, we are a cooperative, we try to create social innovations in both the way we organize ourselves, but also with the financial instruments that we offer. We offer completely new financial instruments in the Swedish market. So, I think that's some key factors. And also, so all the social enterprises that we invest in, they become members of the cooperative. So we are a mutual company in that way. And that also creates some, solidarity, and they are, spreading the word that we exist, and that they can recommend us to other social enterprises and so on. So you're
building the structure that is stronger with every new member. So that's
exactly. Yeah. So we're using the resilience that we see in the social enterprises that we invest in, and try to work in the same way in how we organize ourselves. And also, I must say, so we get a lot of pro bono work, voluntary work done by the bigger member organizations, like the cooperative banks in Sweden. And that's also, something that really strengthens us, even though it's not visible in our internal, budget, but it makes us bigger and more capable.
So I see there's many of these invisible but cultural rooted activities, habits, something that you have in your the DNA that allows for the cooperation and actually the success. So that's super interesting from seeing the context in your country. Ylva, I want to thank you very much for sharing this case of Mikrofonden. It's always interesting to really see what's happening in different parts of Europe. And I want to ask all the people listening to us we're gonna set up a poll right now, so you can give us your feedback on the session. And thank you very much, Ylva. Have a great day and good luck.
Thank you very much, and welcome to contact me in the chat or so.
Yeah, thank you.